And Jim Ross's comment, are these guys stupid?
Are those guys stupid?
Which he meant they need to get out of the ring before it blows up, but it was perfect at that. Are these guys stupid? Yes. Yes, they are. And they also have no concept of how to time their shit. So finally the heels leave with a minute left because now the sirens and the gongs and the it sounded like the China syndrome. Some bad shit's gonna take place here. This ring gonna blow. Here comes Eddie Kingston, who was the star of the night. He had frantic body language. He was in a panic. He was looking left and right, trying to get his old friend Moxley, who they've had these wars, but really he deep down still appreciates and loves their friendship. And he's trying to drag this guy out of the ring because, oh my God, the clock is counting down. Beep, beep, beep. Woo, woo. It's gonna blow. And the fucking announcers, take cover, take cover.
Oh, take cover, get him over.
And it blows. And it lit Gilbert's sparklers on the ring posts. A boom from a couple of firecrackers and a puff of smoke and a hearty, hi-yo, we fucked all of you. And the ring didn't blow up, and the fans start booing. Poor Eddie Kingston. By the way, where was he during the 5 minutes of heat? Had he already driven out and been halfway home and had to turn around? But poor Eddie Kingston covered Moxley with his fucking body. And the sparklers went off, and Kingston sold like death. He looked like a man who had had a heart attack while fucking his mistress and just slumped over face first and laid there. It buried him. Nothing happened to him. And then to make it worse, they wouldn't get off of it. They had the doctor and the trainer and everybody come in, and those guys never got in. They were laying there, and they fucking wouldn't get off of it. And finally they signed off. And apparently, from what we saw also on Twitter, after they signed off the pay-per-view, Moxley was so embarrassed that he tried to save it by saying, well, at least Omega made a shitty gimmick match.
Kenny Omega may be a tough son of a bitch, but he can't make an exploding ring worth of shit.
And good night from Jacksonville. That I don't know what the fuck it was supposed to be. And Jericho is trying to sell over to the ropes to get in position for the next move they're going to do. Fester realizes he's on the wrong side of the ring apron. He's got to go on the other side of the apron, on the other side of the post. So he put his left foot around the ring post and fucking fell off the goddamn ring to the floor. And then jumped back up and almost killed Jericho with whatever move they'd been trying to set up because he was fucking rattled. Did you see that?
Yep.
So Jericho taking move after move from the aforementioned fat, bald, pale, 50-plus-year-old fucking former mud show fuck who apparently has been working as a truck driver. I don't fucking know. By this point, who was so gassed up, I've never seen somebody so blown up they couldn't do an eye rake. He couldn't rake the fucking eyes. He just kind of put his palm up there and just washed it over fucking Jericho's face. Then he got Jericho's bat that was tossed in. He intercepted it, and Fester gave Jericho a weak gut shot. By the way, if you're noticing that I'm not talking about Jericho doing anything, there's a reason for that. He didn't do anything. Fester hits Jericho with a weak gut shot, and then, did you see, Brian, he hits the ropes and tries a big boot. And he got Jericho in the lower abdomen on the big boot. Jericho took a bump anyway. Luther went for the cover on his hands and knees and looked for all the world like he was down ready to puke on Chris Jericho. And finally, after what seemed like forever, Jericho hits the Judas effect and Fester crumples sloppily 1, 2, 3. Is this a professional organization, or is this, hey kids, let's put on a show?
Jeff Cobb and Kyle Fletcher versus Danielson and Moxley. Jeff Cobb is someone you never see on this show. Kyle Fletcher is someone who's never won a match on this show against Danielson and Moxley. Moxley, who means... Actually, I shouldn't... It's hard to say. Moxley still means a lot to the hardcore AEW fan, but that isn't really growing anymore. And Danielson's just kind of coasting right now, it seems like. Then you get more of that. Takesha's involved. Again, complaining about the booking now. Claudio's involved. No one cares about Claudio right now. The Adam Copeland House of Black stuff is awful. Every baby face on this show gets destroyed. Jack Perry's backstage promo. Jack Perry can't pull this off. He looks like he's selling dime bags. He doesn't seem believable in any way. FTR's promo. FTR's dead. Daniels and Sydal versus the Young Bucks. The Young Bucks are dead. No one has seen Daniels on this show in forever, even has thought about him. Matt Sydal's never won a match on this show. Tony Storm's backstage promo. Hey, at least they present her like a star. I may not like it, but at least they present her like a star. Malachi Black's back in the fucking spooky corner with a ring. How did he get there from the ring? He's doing his promo. The Hook match. You know what? People like Hook. There you go. And then you drag Jericho and Big Bill into this, and it turns it into a shit show. Swerve Strickland versus Brian Cage. Swerve Strickland's the world heavyweight champion. He's been made to look like a fucking bitch on this show 3 weeks straight since winning the title, and it didn't really do him any favors before he won the title. After that, we got what? Toni Storm versus Harley Cameron. The woman who had her first match on the show last week has a long match with Toni Storm here. Of course, Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez got into a giant fight over who the heel was here.
She's not a heel.
She's here. So the objective or whatever they were trying to have as their goal there probably didn't get achieved. Then we have what? Roderick Strong and Will Ospreay backstage. Will Ospreay cuts a good promo, and it was a pre-tape backstage with a stable that was led by the Devil that took down the AEW World Champion and now are jerk-offs on this show that you never even think about. So that's happening. And then we get Willow and Mercedes Moné. Willow Nightingale needs practice and maybe coaching about how to talk, but she's got a lot. She's got something going on. Mercedes Moné has been a complete disaster, a bust, a bomb. The AEW fans aren't into her. She's coming across awful on these shows. She's coming across like she's on NXT on these shows. Just terrible. And then Okada versus Harwood.
How can you go wrong there?
Okada has been lost in the shuffle. If they really gave him a lot of money, he hasn't meant it so far. He's just another guy on that show, and he's tagged, or he's put with the jerk-off stable that the fans don't believe in. The Young Bucks and Jack Perry. Versus
and
Dax
he looks
Harwood.
like a fibromyalgia patient.
Versus Dax Harwood, who never wins a match against anyone important. So, this is the main...
Have we seen him win it against anyone?
Well, against the
He only puts stars over.
But everything on the show, the commentators are useless. It's not just that I don't like Excalibur and Shivani. It's that they're useless as lead commentators. They don't do anything to help the show at all. They're useless. Eliminator matches. There's something no one needs to hear ever again. Here's an eliminator match. It sounds great in Tony's head. It sucks. And it doesn't make anyone join the show or care about this. The overrun sucks. It does nothing but make people say, okay, I can leave the show. Everything is a disaster. And everyone wants to pretend like, oh, everything's all right. And Tony will do a press scrum after the next pay-per-view and say, everything's great. We've had a great string of great shows. I think these are the best shows we've ever done. Everything's wonderful. The show's awful right now.